Who's Smiling Dave?
Smiling Dave is a character in our movie The Endless. He's also the producer of all of our films, including this one, Something in the Dirt. He's actually...
If you swing this camera around right there, that's actually Smiling Dave. Just make the smile, Dave.
There he is.
We tried to shave him so that everybody knows it's him.
The face of love and affection. So, this is a wild film, and I'm not going to pretend to say I understand it just yet. I'm still computing it. But do you want to give us, what was the kernel of the idea where this starts off for you?
Well, we made a movie in 2012 called Resolution, and that movie opened up the doors to some other opportunities. And the movie was broadly, it's a horror film, which we wore as a badge of honor, but also probably aren't the best fit for studio horror movies. But you still people approach you, but hey, maybe you'd want this job, and I won't say exactly which franchises, but well-known haunted house franchises. They'd be like, give us a crazy pitch, give us your take, nothing's too crazy, and we give it, and they'd be like, that was too crazy, there's no way you're not getting this job. And then, but out of that grew this movie.
Now, your two characters, which obviously you two play, go down some absolute rabbit holes for this story. Can you talk about what research where you were going with your research, what rabbit holes you went down?
Oh yeah, the rabbit hole is our favorite evening pastime. We spent about a decade trying to make a movie or a TV show or anything at all in media about Aleister Crowley, the turn of the century occultist. And failed because it was too left of center, as Justin was just talking about. But that planted a seed of a lot of the research that we do of the very left of center, fringe, occult sort of things. But also just late night Wikipedia is one of our absolute favorite things. The difference between us and our characters is our characters form beliefs around these rabbit holes, whereas we as people just are fascinated, but allow for the unknown in our lives and just say, wouldn't it be interesting if, but we don't know, do we?
So, I went back and looked at the opening because I wanted to see how it started, because you're two strangers when you first meet. And you looking into Levi's eyes, I get the feeling that you were looking for someone to play with from the very start.
Wait, what was it?
The way you're talking to Levi at the start, it's almost like you're looking for someone to play with before you've even seen the phenomenon.
That's a funny thing. This is hard because we look way different. I actually play Levi.
I'm John.
Jesus.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
It's the blonde. It's the blonde hair. I was guessing on the blonde hair.
Yeah. We're actually so we look like it's so funny. Yeah. So actually, we look similar. We talk similar. And we look way different in the movie. My hair was different. I have long blonde hair in the film.
Yeah. But you've given it to him now.
Well, yeah. By the way, the amount of time that I spend if someone calls me Justin and I just answer whatever they're asking, that's my whole life. It's not. I'm called Justin every single day, and I just go with it. But anyways, yeah, I think John's character is kind of a natural manipulator, but he doesn't view himself as a bad guy. And his manipulations in his mind are good-hearted. It's a means to an end sort of a thing, where it's we have uncovered something very interesting here. We've uncovered something profound, and if we have to bend a few ethical rules to get there, if we have to manipulate some people that we care about or don't care about, that's something that's actually worth it in order to achieve the greater goal, which is some kind of... I think he views it as something that can shift the zeitgeist for all of humanity if he does his job right. He views himself as a Steve Jobs type in a way. So.
One last question. There's a lot of action takes place in a small apartment. For the filmmakers listening into FrightFest TV, what's the tips and tricks to keep that visually interesting, such a small space?
Oh, we'd already done a chamber piece with our first movie. Again, bringing up Resolution again. Our first movie was kind of all took place in a cabin, more or less. Actually, that movie actually leaves the cabin a lot too. So I guess my advice is if you're going to make a chamber piece, figure out a way to steal a bunch of locations around the chamber piece that make it feel bigger. And that's what we did in LA. Yeah, we basically just went around guerrilla filmmaking, stealing locations around Los Angeles. Sometimes you get kicked out. Sometimes you almost get arrested. Or at least sometimes people almost call the police on you. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you run fast and you're careful with the equipment, you'll be okay.
Well, look, thanks so much for joining us on FrightFest TV.
Thank you.
I've never misrecognised anyone in my life.
Awesome. Such a